I do play solo games, and I play games solo. This week's video is about solo games. Not so much about them, but it's pretty much just a list of solo games I like to play with a few comments. Just want to kind of throw them out there and get your comments, see which ones you like the best if you have played the same ones I do. Have some suggestions for me, what I might like to play, and hopefully fill you with some suggestions that you could investigate, see if maybe you'd like to play these games too. It wasn't but a few decades ago, really, that there were not a lot of choices for solo games. You could play the typical patience games with poker deck. You could play some crossword puzzle type things. Games Magazine, of course, was always full of those. You could play the usual solitaire games here with your bunch of marbles on a board and maybe golf tees in a little triangle, you know. And that was pretty much the extent of solo challenges. But it's become a substantial category of its own. I think obviously spurred on by the COVID lockdown, when people suddenly found themselves with time on their hands to entertain themselves. I, too, have amassed quite a collection of solo games. There's a bunch of them on the shelf here behind me. Let's just go down the list and talk to you about the different categories of solo games that I bring to the table. Now, of those games designed for one player only, the ones I play the most are Orchard, Sprawlopolis, Cristallo, Onirim or Onirim, or however the heck you're supposed to pronounce that. I really like Deep Space D6. That's a fun one. Takes a little bit more table space, but I play that one a lot. I guess I like those stacked card puzzles like Orchard, and there's a lot of variations on those as well. One that I just recently discovered is called Box Off. That's a really challenging little solo game. First glance, you might think, oh, it's a solitaire puzzle, but it's really more game-like, and it's a really good challenge by Box Off from us at NewVenture. So keep your eye out for that. I play some games solo that were originally designed for multiple players, but either they have solo rules built in or people have come up with solo rules after the fact. And some of those that I enjoy, Shiny Dice, it has a Firefly theme. I have refined the rules a little bit for my own taste, and it's intended to be a multiplayer game, but it's really a multiplayer solitaire that everybody kind of plays by themselves. There's not a lot of interaction between the players anyway, so it works really good as a solo. Citadels, I found some really terrific solo rules to playing Citadels with a kind of a dummy player, sort of a bot that plays your opponent, and it's very well balanced, and I really enjoy the way that works. Madoshi is another one that has solo rules with it, and it's one of those games in which you just try to beat your earlier score. Fantastic Factories is a little bit more complicated than that, but it's got a really well balanced bot to play against, and I like the way that worked out. I do need to try Villagers again. You can see that back here behind me too. I've played it a couple of times solo, and I can see that there's a nice challenge to that. And so I'll have to get that back to the table here pretty soon. I do like to play cooperative games, and play cooperative games solo. Play several characters in the game. The favorites are Star Trek, 5-Year Mission, Pandemic Hot Zone. I could play the full-up Pandemic, but I like the Hot Zone version. It's a little bit quicker. Forbidden Island, of course, the classic. Endangered is a really fascinating solo game, and play 2 or 3 characters in that game. In Castle Panic, of course, I play the Star Trek version, but I do like that castle defense thing. I haven't gotten to too many of the roll and writes, but I do kind of enjoy those. I play Cartographer, and I have a couple copies of the Welcome To games, and I'd like to get into that a little bit more. You can play a lot of little dice games like Quicks as a solo game, and those are fun as well. Now there's some little puzzly travel games. There's a game called Dimension that I really enjoy, and they just recently came out with a little travel game version. It's okay. It's a fun little puzzle, kind of a canoodle sort of, see if you can repeat the patterns that they give you. More of a puzzle than a game, though. Straight push your luck games don't usually work as solo, in my experience anyway. But I did find a game that's called Ink and Gold. That is a fun little push your luck game with deck of cards and a lot of fun little options. Of course, it's a lot more fun with more players, but you can play that solo. I do enjoy playing the original Thunderstone in a solo mode. They came out with some rules long time ago that plays Thunderstone as a solo. And it's been a long time since I got that to the table. And speaking of the bigger box games, if I do have a big chunk of time to spend playing solo games, it's something that I can lay out on a table that might take a couple hours to play. That sort of opportunity doesn't come along very often for me. But if I do have time for that, my go-to choices are usually the big Firefly games. I like the Legendary Encounters Firefly as well as the game Firefly. Dead Men Tell No Tales. That's a really tough one, but I do enjoy playing that one. And Flashpoint Fire Rescue is a great one. It's a co-op again, but it takes a little bit more of a intense concentration than a lot of little solo games. So, to help satisfy my cravings for a solo game, I have designed a few. There's a couple over here, about over my shoulder. Jiha is one that uses a deck of cards and some pegs. If you keep track of the cards that you count as you go through it, you can have some fun with the probabilities. Sancti et Malum is back here. That was designed as a solo game. You can play it as a team co-op, but I think it works really best as a solo game. And a lot of dice rolling, and again, you're playing against the odds, playing against the deck of cards. It's one that I take with me quite often on trips. I did create a game called Dami Dice, which I did a video about some time ago. That is a roll and write sort of a puzzly game. It's been a while since I've had that one out on the table too, but I usually carry around a pad of the puzzles with me. Easy enough to roll and write some of those little challenges when you get a few moments to yourself. Two of my new card game designs, one of them is color bars, and that can easily be played solo against your previous score, one of those where you just try to improve your score. So I'm trying to work up some designs on some more complex solo games. One that I came up with years ago that just needs to be refined is called Quest for the Orb, and that can be a multiplayer game, but I generally end up playing it solo. And still working out some of the details on that to keep it streamlined and interesting. I do admit that I get out the iPad and I play a few digital games, but they're implementations of board games that I like to play. And I generally play against the AI for Ticket to Ride and Splendor and Lanterns, and Potion Explosion is one that's a lot of fun. I even play Seven Wonders against the AI just to try to hone my skills a little bit more there. I really like that game. I'm just not very good at it. And another one that doesn't come to the table very often is Lords of Waterdeep, and that AI is quite a challenge. They've got a lot of different characters with different skills built into the AI, so that's a fun one to play. Handheld device. So that's about it for my solo games episode. Thanks for putting up with me there. Maybe I've shared something that you haven't played before and something you'd like to try, but I definitely want to hear from you all about what games you play solo and some recommendations. Again, I like the lighter games. I like engine building games, which don't usually work very well solo, but I look forward to seeing you again pretty soon. And be sure to play every day.